In today's presentation, we will be talking about mental well-being and what is it, the effect of multitasking and sensory overload, tools to achieve balance between doing and being, and we'll practice one of those tools. A great mind effortlessly gathers, processes, recalls, and communicates information, and that is the definition of well-being. The mind-brain is amazing with millions upon millions of neural connections. In order for your mind to do all this processing, the brain has certain requirements. Yet, we often overlook its health and well-being. When given the right conditions, however, the potential of the brain is astonishing. Let's look at what conditions support optimal mental well-being. As we learned in the last session, in order to experience optimal physical well-being and vitality, our bodies have certain requirements. When not met, vitality declines both in terms of energy and health, eventually leading to disease. Well, the brain also has certain requirements in order to experience optimal well-being. When not met, mental well-being is compromised. So you can say there's a different epidemic happening out there that's getting less attention, perhaps because it is less obvious than the epidemic of obesity we're experiencing. We're entering an era of an epidemic of overwhelming, a time when too many people's mental well-being is stretched through multitasking, fragmented attention, and information overload. The trouble is we are short on simple, clear information about good mental habits. Few people know what it takes to have optimum mental health and the implications of being out of balance. It is not often taught in schools or discussed in business. The issue just isn't on the table. The result is that we stretch ourselves in ways that may have even bigger implications than an unhealthy physical diet. The Healthy Mind Platter has 7 essential mental activities for optimum mental health in daily life. These 7 daily activities make up the full set of mental nutrients that your brain needs to function at its best. The 7 essential daily mental activities are sleep time, when we give the brain the rest it needs to consolidate learning and recover from the experiences of the day. Physical time, when we move our bodies, which strengthens the brain in many ways. Focus time, when we closely focus on tasks in a goal-oriented way, taking on challenges that make deep connections in the brain. Time in, when we quietly reflect internally, focusing on sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts, helping to better integrate the brain. Downtime, when we are non-focused without any specific goal and let our mind wander or simply relax, which helps our brain recharge. And lastly, connecting time, when we connect with other people, ideally in person, or take time to appreciate our connection to the natural world around us, richly activating the brain's relational circuitry. The mind craves stimulation as well as periods of quiet time. We need to cultivate a balance of the two for mental well-being. 2 other requirements mentioned on the previous slide are downtime and time in. Let's look closer at this idea of including downtime and quiet time for mental well-being. It turns out that the brain needs a balance between periods of stimulation and periods of quiet time in order to perform optimally. Most of us, especially in today's fast-paced culture, wake up and go. As the day goes on, we continue to go and go and go, often doing multiple things at once. Most of us give our brains plenty of active or stimulation time, but more often than not, we don't give our brains mental quiet times throughout our waking hours. Most of us are in sensory overload much of the time. Cell phones, tracking devices, social websites, internet, work demands, family demands, traffic, and often we even try to do 2 or more things at the same time. Maybe you can think of some examples from your own life. Too much sensory stimulation begins to create neural pathways to assimilate this wealth of information. In the process, it creates stress in the brain. Too much of this mental stimulation compromises our mental well-being. Let's look at a couple of facts about multitasking. First, Only about 2% of people can actually multitask. For the rest, multitasking results in poor quality of work, mistakes, and increased inefficiency. Are you one of the 2%? As you can see here, the majority of us cannot multitask and do our best work. It takes time for the brain to switch between tasks. Our attention span is now less than that of a goldfish. In 2000, the average attention span was 12 seconds, but this has now fallen to just 8. The goldfish is believed to be able to maintain a solid 9. Attention is a necessary ingredient for effective advertising. A study with Microsoft Canada showed that Canadians' digital lifestyles are changing their brains, decreasing the ability for prolonged attention and increasing their appetites for more stimuli. The good news from the findings? People are getting better at processing information and encoding that information to memory. But we might ask at what cost, since we are giving less and less time to those periods of mental quiet time, relieving the stress that is created by an overload of stimulation. Balancing mental states. How do we quiet the mind? Are we mindful or mindful? So, what can we do to incorporate more moments of mental quiet time into our busy days to create that balance for our optimal mental well-being? One antidote to sensory overload is meditation. Meditation. The purpose of meditation is to increase concentration and awareness, nothing more. It may be thought of as an exercise for the mind. The more you practice quieting the mind, the more the benefits, which, in addition to all the benefits listed here, includes actually changing the physical structure of the brain in as little as 8 weeks of practice. One popular and well-researched type of meditation that is being practiced in corporations, schools, hospitals, and even the military is called mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness meditation is simply paying attention on purpose in the present moment without judgment. Based on that definition, you can see there are endless ways we can practice mindfulness, from brushing our teeth to a formal practice like a sitting meditation. All we have to do is give the present moment our full attention. Jon Kabat-Zinn has been credited for bringing this type of meditation from the Buddhist realm to the mainstream. He is a professor of medicine and creator of the Stress Reduction Clinic and the Center for Mindfulness at the University of Massachusetts Medical School. He is the founder of a stress reduction program called Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction. The program is offered by medical centers, hospitals, and health maintenance organizations, as well as at many work sites. So, what's a simple practice? Just breathe. It's simple, it requires no equipment, and can be practiced anywhere for as little or as long as you choose. Right now, take a deep inhale breath and slowly release. There are many mindfulness practices available for free on YouTube. Some standard formal practices include a body scan, guided visualization, and mindful yoga. Videos range in length from 2 minutes to 60 minutes. Try some different ones out and see if you can find what works for you. Another way to practice being in the present moment and quieting the mind is through a creative practice. Practicing a creative outlet regularly offers the benefits of quieting the mind and creates neural pathways that can also change the structure of the brain. What creative outlet have you enjoyed that helps you be in the present moment and provides you with a mental break? Have you noticed the increase in popularity with the adult coloring books now on shelves everywhere? They are a great way to relax your mind and quiet the mental chatter by being creative. Check one out today. Lots of craft stores and large department stores offer them, and some even have them for kids. Today we've talked about optimal well-being, focusing on the importance of balancing the busy mind with a quiet mind throughout our day. We examined a couple of practices, mindfulness and deep breathing to learn how to create more mental quiet time. Of course, the brain also requires the other things mentioned, such as good nutrition and quality sleep for optimal function. Find a meditative quiet mind activity to practice. Practice this quiet mind activity at least 3 times this week. Practice mindful breathing 3 times per day. Based on what we've learned and practiced, what next steps might you be interested in and ready to commit to in order to enhance your optimal emotional well-being? Thank you for joining us in Session 4, Mental Well-Being in Your Best Self, a guide to achieving a balanced well-being.